The stars stretched endlessly across space, shining faintly over the distant alien world. The planet's surface was scarred from years of battle, and smoke rose in thick clouds. Commander Hannah of the alien fleet paced anxiously, her hands tight at her sides. She had seen her people suffer too long, and now there seemed to be no hope. She knew the Galactic Council would not act. Their words were hollow, and their laws were slow. She had no choice but to seek help outside the usual channels. Humanity had arrived in this part of the galaxy only recently, but stories of their strength and courage had already reached far corners of the cosmos. Hannah knew that if anyone could turn the tide, it would be them. In orbit above the planet, Earth's reconnaissance ships moved silently. They observed every detail of the battlefield below, scanning the enemy formations and measuring the strength of the alien forces. Lieutenant June, the fleet officer in charge, studied the data with sharp eyes. He had trained for years for situations like this, though he had never expected to face a war this vast. Still, he trusted the humans' ingenuity. Humans were unpredictable, capable of thinking in ways that no other species could. This mission, though risky, had the potential to save millions of lives. Hannah activated her communicator and sent a direct signal to Earth. It was not a formal request to the Council. This was a plea for help, one that could not be ignored. She chose the words carefully, knowing that the humans valued honesty and courage. "Our world is on the edge of destruction," she said. "Our fleets are broken, our cities burned. We beg for your aid, not as subjects, but as allies." The message carried urgency but also respect. She hoped that these humans, whom she had only heard about in stories, would answer. On Earth, the message arrived at the High Command. Admiral Milky read the transmission and leaned back in his chair. His face was calm, but his mind raced. He knew that the Galactic Council would dismiss this. They often ignored smaller species when their problems did not directly affect Council politics. But humanity had a long memory. They remembered past betrayals, past attacks, and they remembered the countless times their people had faced extinction. Milky looked at his subordinates. "Prepare the fleet," he said simply. "We are going to help them, but we will do it our way." The engineers in the dockyards worked tirelessly. Chief Engineer Subin supervised the construction of new warships, weapon systems, and defense drones. She walked among the rows of human soldiers, offering encouragement. "We have the best minds, the strongest hands, and the fastest ships," she told them. "If we move together, we can change the outcome. No one has fought like humans before, and no one has faced what we are about to do." The crew cheered quietly, but inside each of them, a mixture of excitement and fear grew. They were about to face a battle that could reshape the galaxy. Back on the alien world, Hannah waited. Her eyes scanned the horizon, watching for any sign of human response. The aliens had grown accustomed to being abandoned, to fighting alone against impossible odds. Now hope flickered in her chest. A small fleet appeared in the distant sky, tiny at first, then growing larger. The humans had arrived. Ships of every size and shape moved with precision, their engines glowing softly in the dark of space. The sight alone brought a moment of relief to the weary commander. Lieutenant June coordinated the fleet's approach. He spoke calmly over the communication channels, issuing orders with clarity and confidence. "Keep formation tight. Protect the civilians on the planet below. Scan for enemy movements and report every change immediately." Human pilots responded without hesitation. Their training had been rigorous, their discipline strict. Yet there was an element of creativity in their tactics that no machine could replicate. They would improvise when needed, and that made them deadly. Hannah's people watched as the humans positioned their ships in orbit. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. While alien fleets were rigid and predictable, humans moved in patterns that seemed almost chaotic but were carefully designed to maximize effectiveness. They created shields around the planet, sent smaller attack ships toward enemy positions, and prepared long-range weapons capable of striking deep into enemy lines. Hannah felt a sense of awe and disbelief. These were humans. These were the same species that many had underestimated, and now they held the power to save her world. The first skirmishes began as the human fleet tested the enemy's defenses. A group of small attack ships darted past alien turrets, striking key weapon positions. Explosions lit the sky, but the humans moved quickly, taking minimal losses. Back on Earth, Admiral Minkyu monitored every movement. He smiled faintly as he saw the enemy struggling to react. Humanity's strength was not just in their firepower, but in their ability to adapt. They will learn soon enough, he said to himself. Humans do not fight like anyone else. They fight to survive and they fight to win. Hannah communicated constantly with the human fleet. She gave them details about enemy positions, weaknesses, and civilian evacuation routes. Every piece of information was valuable, but she also realized that humans had their own plan. They did not rely entirely on her guidance. They observed, adjusted, and acted with a confidence that inspired trust. Slowly, the alien forces began to falter. Their attacks became desperate and uncoordinated. The humans struck hard where it hurt the most, disabling weapons and taking control of key positions. On the planet's surface, the alien civilians watched the battle from behind makeshift barricades. Children clung to their parents as the sounds of distant explosions reached them. Yet for the first time in weeks they dared to hope. People whispered about the humans, about their incredible ships and bravery. Hannah moved among them when she could, offering words of encouragement. "The humans are here," she said quietly. "They are not just fighting for us. They are showing us what courage truly means." The day stretched on, and the human fleet continued to press forward. They were methodical yet fast. Every attack was precise, every maneuver calculated. Even when enemy ships tried to flank them, human pilots adapted instantly, creating new formations and surprising the aliens at every turn. Lieutenant June felt a surge of pride. These were humans, yes, but they were also fighters of unmatched skill and creativity. Hannah's hope grew with every passing moment. By nightfall on the alien world, the first major victories had been won. Key enemy stations were destroyed, supply lines cut, and the alien defenders were regrouping. Hannah stood on a cliff, looking at the city below. It had suffered greatly, but it still stood. The humans had changed the course of the battle, and for the first time, she believed that her people could survive. She sent a message to Admiral Minkyu, a simple statement of gratitude. He responded with a single word: "We are not done." Even as darkness fell, the stars above were alive with human ships, glowing like a web of light. Civilians below cheered softly as small fighter ships flew overhead. The humans were relentless, but they were careful. They valued life even while they destroyed enemy positions. Hannah realized that humanity's power came not just from their weapons, but from their hearts. They fought because they cared, because they would not let the innocent suffer. That realization brought tears to her eyes. The alien forces tried to mount a counterattack, but it was weak and uncoordinated. Human warships adapted instantly, predicting moves and striking before the enemy could react. Hannah's people joined in, inspired by the humans' courage and ingenuity. Slowly, the balance of the battle shifted. Where once the aliens had been on the brink of defeat, they now had a chance to reclaim their world. Hannah looked up at the night sky, seeing the human fleet shining among the stars. She knew this was only the beginning. The battle was far from over, but humanity had arrived, and their presence had changed everything. For the first time, she allowed herself to hope that her world would survive. The humans were not just warriors. They were a force of nature, unstoppable and brilliant, and she was grateful beyond words. The first day of the battle ended with humans firmly in control of the skies above the alien planet. Their ships formed a protective ring, ensuring civilians could evacuate safely, while enemy forces struggled to regroup. Hannah knew that the next days would bring more challenges, but she also knew that with humans by their side, survival was possible. She watched as Lieutenant June coordinated with the fleet, his calm voice giving orders and guidance. Humanity's strength was undeniable, and it had arrived at the perfect moment. The human fleet moved through space with precision and speed. Ships of all sizes glided between stars, their engines leaving faint trails of light. Captain Daehyun observed the monitors from his command deck, his eyes scanning enemy movements. The alien defenders had regrouped, but their efforts were uncoordinated. Every attack they made was met by a swift human response. Daehyun's voice was calm but firm as he issued orders. Divert the attack ships to the left flank. Keep the defense ships tight. We cannot lose the civilians below. His crew nodded, moving quickly to follow his instructions. In the alien command center, Commander Hannah watched the humans at work. Their efficiency amazed her. They were not just powerful. They were intelligent, adaptable, and fearless. She felt a growing respect for them with every passing moment. They fight like no one else, she said to Lieutenant Kwan, who had been assigned to coordinate with the human fleet. Their ships, their weapons, everything moves so fast and precise. If they were not here, our world would already be lost. Kwan nodded silently, understanding the truth in her words. On Earth, Admiral Minsuk reviewed the battle strategy with his officers. He did not underestimate the enemy. The alien forces were desperate, and desperation made them dangerous. But he trusted humans to handle the situation. We cannot act as the Galactic Council, he said. They wait and delay, but we do not. Our people fight for what is right. Our people fight to survive. Remember that. The officers responded with disciplined nods, their focus sharp. The humans were not just a fleet. They were a force built from courage, intelligence, and relentless determination. Engineer Jia moved among the ships, checking weapon systems and shields. She saw the human pilots preparing for the next wave of attacks. Some of them were nervous, but they trusted their training and each other. Jia smiled as she tightened a few panels and adjusted power settings. You will do great, she whispered to the pilots. Our ships, our weapons, they are ready. Just focus, and the enemy will not know what hit them. The pilots gave her confident smiles, appreciating the support. Every small contribution mattered in a battle as vast as this. As the human fleet approached the outer defenses of the alien city, the enemy fired back with renewed fury. Energy beams tore across space, striking empty areas and occasionally hitting a human ship. Captain Daehyun calmly guided his team. Adjust shields to 40% front, 60% sides. Fire at the weapon towers and keep moving. Do not let them predict our moves. The humans responded with precision, targeting key points that disabled enemy weapons and communication systems. Slowly, the alien forces began to weaken. Hannah observed the results from the planet's surface. Smoke rose from destroyed enemy stations, and the civilians began to feel hope. Children peeked from behind barricades, watching small fighter ships zip through the sky. She could hear the murmurs of the people below. The humans are here, they whispered. They fight for us. They will save us. Hannah felt a warmth in her chest. For the first time in weeks, she felt that the end of this battle could be in sight. Lieutenant Kwan coordinated with human pilots to evacuate civilians. Transport ships moved quickly, dodging enemy fire while landing near safe zones. Soldiers protected the civilians, guiding them into the ships. The humans were not just fighting. They were saving lives at every turn. Kwan admired their dedication. They are not only warriors, he thought. They are protectors. They fight to win, but they also fight to save. That is why they are so different. On one of the human warships, Captain Daehyun prepared for a special mission. A group of small strike ships would infiltrate the enemy's main command station and disable their central systems. This mission is risky, he said to the team. But if we succeed, we can end this faster and save more lives. Trust each other, trust your training, and stay calm. The pilots nodded, adjusting their suits and checking their equipment. They trusted him, and they trusted themselves. The strike team launched into the void, moving quickly through asteroid fields and debris from destroyed stations. Enemy fighters tried to intercept them, but the humans were faster and more unpredictable. They dodged attacks, returned fire, and finally reached the command station. Using precise strikes, they disabled shields and communication arrays, leaving the enemy vulnerable to the main fleet. It was a dangerous maneuver, but the humans executed it perfectly. Hannah and her team observed the operation from the alien world. They were amazed at the humans' coordination and skill. "No one has ever fought like this," Hannah said quietly. "Their strategy, their courage, their speed. It is beyond anything we imagined." Lieutenant Quan nodded. The alien forces were being overwhelmed, and the humans had done it with intelligence and care, not just brute strength. Back in orbit, the main fleet prepared for a coordinated strike. Admiral Minsuk watched as Daehyun's team reported success. "This is the moment," he said. "Strike hard, strike fast, and finish what we began." The fleet moved in perfect harmony, targeting weakened enemy positions. Beams of energy tore through the enemy lines, and explosions shook the surrounding space. The alien defenders struggled to regroup, but every move they made was anticipated by the humans. On the planet's surface, civilians watched as the alien war machines fell one by one. Smoke and fire filled the horizon, but hope also filled hearts. Hannah guided her people to safe zones while keeping communication with the human fleet. "We are not alone," she said. "We have allies now. They fight for us, and they will not fail." Children smiled at the sight of human fighter ships swooping low, protecting the evacuation routes. Even in fear, hope had returned. Lieutenant Quan worked with human engineers to repair alien defense systems that could protect civilians. They shared knowledge quickly, building temporary shields and redirecting energy to key points. The humans' understanding of technology was remarkable, and Hannah realized that their help was more than military. It was also knowledge, skill, and support. "They are teaching us how to fight, and at the same time, they are saving lives," she thought. "We owe them everything." As the battle continued, Captain Daehyun directed the fleet to attack the enemy's retreating forces. The humans moved with a combination of aggression and care, striking just enough to prevent regrouping but avoiding unnecessary destruction of areas with civilians. Engineer Jia monitored weapon output, adjusting power to maximize efficiency without wasting resources. Every member of the human fleet had a role, and every action was important. The alien commanders began to lose hope. Their once powerful fleet had been split, damaged, and forced into retreat. Commander Hannah saw the fear in their eyes and knew that the humans had changed everything. "They are unstoppable," she whispered to Quan. "Not because they are stronger than us, but because they are smarter, faster, and braver. They do not give up, and they do not hesitate when it matters most." By the end of the day, the humans had established control of the skies above the alien world. The enemy had retreated to scattered positions, and the civilians were safe in temporary shelters. Hannah and Quan stood among the people, watching as human pilots performed one final sweep to ensure no threat remained nearby. "They have saved us," Quan said quietly. "Not just with weapons, but with courage and wisdom." Hannah nodded, feeling gratitude that ran deep in her heart. Captain Daehyun returned to the main fleet command, reporting the status to Admiral Minsuk. "The civilians are safe, the enemy is scattered, and our objectives are complete," he said. Minsuk smiled faintly. "Good work. Remember, this is only the beginning. There will be more battles, but today, humanity has shown what we can do when we fight together." The human crew cheered quietly, proud of what they had accomplished. Hannah watched the fleet move away from the planet, knowing that they would return if needed. Her people would rebuild, and the humans had left behind more than just victory. They had left hope, courage, and the knowledge that they were not alone. She looked up at the stars, where human ships glowed like beacons. She whispered, "We are lucky to have them. The galaxy will never forget this day." As the night fell over the alien world, peace returned for the first time in many months. Fires were still smoldering, but the humans' presence had given the aliens strength. Lieutenant Quan moved through the shelters, offering comfort to families. "We can survive this," he said. "Humans have shown us how. We will fight, rebuild, and live." Today, we learned the meaning of courage. The humans continued to patrol the skies for a few more hours, ensuring no enemy forces could strike again. Captain Daehyun and Engineer Jia watched as the alien civilians began to emerge from shelters, cautious but relieved. The humans had accomplished what the Galactic Council had failed to do. Save a world on the brink of destruction. Hannah joined them briefly, her heart full of gratitude. "You did more than fight," she said softly. "You gave us hope. You gave us life." And in the distance, among the stars, the human fleet glimmered, ready for whatever challenge would come next. Humanity had shown its true power, not just in weapons, but in courage, intelligence, and heart. The aliens would never forget this day, and the humans themselves knew that they had begun a legacy that would echo through the galaxy for generations. The human fleet moved deeper into enemy territory. Every ship was ready, every crew alert, and every weapon systems online. Captain Sujin stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the enemy forces scattered across space. The aliens had tried to regroup after their previous defeat, but the humans were faster and more organized. She knew this would not be easy. The enemy was desperate, and desperation could make them dangerous. "Keep formation tight," she said calmly. "We strike where it hurts the most, and we protect each other. Stay focused." Her officers nodded, trusting her judgment completely. On the alien world, Commander Hannah and Lieutenant Quan monitored the battle from their mobile command center. They had seen the humans' power before, but now it was even more impressive. The fleet moved like a single organism, striking with precision and retreating with purpose. "I have never seen anything like this," Hannah said quietly. "They are not just strong, they are smart, fast, and brave. Every attack is calculated, yet they act without hesitation." Quan nodded, realizing that humanity's tactics were unlike anything the alien forces had faced. Lieutenant Minesio, a human strategist, studied the enemy patterns carefully. He noticed that the aliens were trying to form a defensive perimeter around their last remaining stations. "They think they can hold us off," he said, pointing to the holographic map. "But they underestimate us. We will hit their weak points first, then their strong points. We move fast, we strike hard, and we never stop." His team of officers nodded, working quickly to adjust attack vectors and coordinate with other fleet units. Engineer Hyrin worked tirelessly to ensure the ship's weapons were ready. Lasers, missiles, and energy cannons were calibrated to perfection. She moved from console to console, checking systems and monitoring feedback from the front lines. "Everything must work perfectly," she said to herself. "If one system fails, it could cost lives. We cannot let that happen." Her hands moved with practiced speed, her mind focused on the mission. She knew that humans had a responsibility not just to fight, but to protect. The first wave of attacks struck suddenly. Small human fighters darted toward enemy stations, dodging energy beams and explosions. Captain Sujin watched the battle unfold, giving orders as needed. "Target the weapons arrays on their left flank. Support ships, cover the civilians below. Strike quickly and withdraw before they can react." The humans moved with a combination of precision and unpredictability, overwhelming the alien defenses in minutes. Hannah and Quan watched the humans' attacks with awe. The alien forces tried to fight back, but their movements were slow and predictable compared to the humans. Each failed attempt allowed the humans to push further, gaining control of key positions. "It is incredible," Hannah said. "They are teaching us what courage and skill look like. I did not expect them to be so unstoppable." Quan could only nod, knowing she was right. Humanity had changed the course of this war. On one of the smaller human ships, pilot Jiho maneuvered through the debris of destroyed enemy stations. His mission was to disable a critical energy generator that powered the aliens' defensive grid. Enemy fighters chased him, firing continuously, but Jiho was faster and more agile. He twisted and turned through the field, finally reaching the generator. With a few precise shots, the generator exploded, cutting power to the enemy defenses. Jiho smiled, sending a quick message to the fleet. "Target destroyed. Moving back to formation." Captain Sujin directed the fleet to take advantage of the disruption. "All units focus fire on the exposed stations. Use this opening to disable their command network. The enemy will not know what hit them." The human ships moved with incredible coordination, attacking simultaneously from multiple directions. Explosions lit up space as enemy positions were destroyed one by one. The alien commanders struggled to communicate and respond, their forces falling into chaos. Hannah's people began to regain confidence. Soldiers and civilians alike saw the human skill and courage, and it inspired them. For the first time, they began to take small, coordinated actions to defend their cities. Liaison Officer Minjin worked closely with human engineers to repair damaged defensive systems, redirecting energy to areas where civilians were most at risk. "We can fight alongside them," he said quietly. "If we follow their lead, we can survive this." The humans anticipated the next enemy counterattack. Lieutenant Minasio had studied their patterns carefully and predicted where the aliens would strike next. "They will try to flank us here," he told Captain Sujin. "Prepare intercept teams and set traps. We need to control the pace of this battle." The fleet adjusted instantly, forming defensive lines and preparing ambushes. When the aliens attacked, they found themselves caught off guard, their ships destroyed or forced to retreat. Engineer Hairin monitored damage reports and communicated with field engineers who were assisting in repairs on the alien world. She ensured that critical systems remained operational and that the fleet's weapons could continue firing without interruption. "Every second counts," she said. "We cannot allow mistakes. We protect life as well as fight the enemy." Her efforts allowed the fleet to maintain full effectiveness during continuous attacks. In the middle of the chaos, Hannah moved among her people, providing guidance and reassurance. "The humans are not just fighting for us," she said. "They are showing us how to survive, how to be brave, and how to act with intelligence. Watch them and learn. We will win this because they are here with us." Children peeked from behind barricades, whispering excitedly about the humans' ships. Soldiers began to regain hope, their morale rising as they saw the enemy falter. Captain Sujin organized a special strike team to target the enemy command station directly. "This is dangerous," she told the team. "But if we succeed, we can cripple their ability to fight. Trust each other, trust your training, and stay calm." The team launched into enemy space, weaving through asteroid fields and dodging defensive fire. Using a combination of speed, skill, and clever tactics, they reached the station and disabled its main systems, leaving the remaining enemy forces disorganized. Hannah and Quan observed the human strike in disbelief. The aliens' ability to adapt, to move quickly, and to strike with precision was unlike anything they had experienced. "They are changing the rules of this battle," Quan said quietly. "No one fights like this. They think differently, act faster, and never hesitate when it matters most." Hannah nodded, realizing that humanity's presence had shifted the balance of power entirely. On the planet's surface, civilians began to venture out more freely as the humans established control over the skies. Transport ships moved safely, carrying people from dangerous zones to shelters. Soldiers coordinated with human engineers to repair damaged infrastructure, allowing the population to find some sense of security amid the chaos. "We will survive this," Hannah told her people. "The humans have shown us how. We can live and rebuild." Lieutenant Minasio coordinated attacks with other fleet units, ensuring that every move was calculated to maximize impact. He predicted enemy reinforcements and set traps, ensuring that the humans remained in control. Captain Sujin executed the plans flawlessly, and the fleet continued to push forward. Every engagement further weakened the alien forces, while minimizing unnecessary destruction to the planet below. Engineer Hairin continued to adjust weapon systems, ensuring maximum efficiency. She communicated with field engineers, making sure that energy outputs were stable and that weapons remained accurate. Her work allowed the fleet to maintain relentless pressure on the enemy while protecting civilians. "We cannot stop," she said quietly. "Every second matters, every shot counts. We fight for life as well as victory." By the end of the day, the human fleet had gained complete control of the battlefield. Enemy forces were scattered, their command structures crippled, and their morale broken. Commander Hannah looked over the city from a cliff, seeing smoke rising from destroyed enemy positions but also civilians beginning to rebuild. The humans have saved us again, she said softly. Not just with weapons, but with courage, skill, and intelligence. They are incredible. Captain Sujin and her team returned to the main fleet formation. Reports indicated minimal losses and maximum effectiveness. Admiral Minsuk received the updates and nodded in satisfaction. Good work, he said. We have shown them the strength of humanity. But remember, this is only part of the battle. There will be more challenges ahead. The crew understood the gravity of the situation, but they also felt pride in what they had accomplished. Hannah sent a message of gratitude to the humans. Your fleet has changed everything. You have given hope to our people and shown the galaxy the meaning of courage. We will never forget this day. Captain Sujin replied simply, We fight because it is the right thing to do. We protect life and we fight for hope. That is what humans do. As the stars twinkled above, the human fleet prepared for the next phase of the operation. The enemy was still present, scattered and dangerous, but humanity's influence had shifted the tide of war. Hannah and Quan knew that their people had a chance to survive, rebuild, and thrive. The humans had demonstrated not just power, but intelligence, bravery, and heart. And the galaxy would remember it. The human fleet moved closer to the heart of enemy territory. Captain Hae-Won stood on the bridge of her flagship, her eyes scanning the holographic display of the battlefield. The alien forces were desperate, trying to regroup and mount a counterattack, but the humans were ready. Every ship, every fighter, and every weapon system was coordinated to strike with speed and precision. Prepare for full assault, Hae-Won said calmly. We will not give them a chance to recover. Focus on the key command stations and protect civilians at all costs. On the planet's surface, Commander Hannah moved among her people, organizing them to take advantage of the humans' actions. She had learned from watching their tactics. Follow their lead, she told Lieutenant Sumin. We must be precise, quick, and brave. Watch how they fight and learn. This is how we will survive. The alien soldiers nodded, inspired by the humans' courage and skill. Slowly, the people began to act with renewed confidence, repairing defenses and helping each other in small but important ways. Lieutenant Jinwoo coordinated with human pilots to plan the next strikes. The enemy's main energy hub is here, he said, pointing at the holographic map. If we take it out, their command systems will collapse. We must act quickly and carefully. The civilians below are counting on us. The pilots checked their ships and weapons, ready to follow his orders. The humans had trained for situations like this, and their confidence came from preparation and trust in each other. Engineer Boare worked on the warship's weapon systems, ensuring that all lasers, cannons, and missiles were fully operational. She moved from station to station, checking energy outputs and stabilizing systems under pressure. Everything must work perfectly, she said quietly. One mistake could cost lives. We fight not only to destroy, but to protect. Her efforts ensured the fleet maintained maximum efficiency during the ongoing battle. The humans launched their next wave of attacks. Small strike ships darted through enemy defenses, moving unpredictably to disable critical systems. Captain Hae-Won watched as the fleet executed maneuvers she had never seen before. They are fast, clever, and precise, she said to herself. No one fights like this. They adapt to every situation instantly. Explosions erupted across the enemy lines as key command stations and energy generators were destroyed, leaving the alien forces confused and scattered. On the alien world, civilians watched the battle from protected zones. Smoke and fire rose from distant stations, but they began to feel hope. Children peered out of hiding places, watching the human fighters swoop through the skies with bravery and skill. Hannah guided them to safe areas while coordinating with the humans above. We are not alone, she said softly. The humans are with us. They fight not just for victory, but to protect life. Lieutenant Soo-hyun piloted one of the strike ships toward the enemy's main command center. Enemy fighters tried to intercept him, but he used the techniques he had learned during training. He dodged blasts and returned fire accurately. When he reached the command center, He deployed a special energy pulse to disable its shields and communication arrays. The station went dark, and the remaining alien forces were left without coordination. Soo-hyun sent a quick message to the fleet. Command center neutralized. Enemy forces are scattered. Captain Hae-won immediately directed the fleet to press the advantage. All units, target remaining enemy positions, she ordered. Do not allow them to regroup. Protect civilians and maintain formation. Strike hard and fast. The human ships moved like a single unit, attacking from multiple directions simultaneously. The aliens struggled to respond, their defenses collapsing under the relentless human assault. Hannah and Lieutenant Sumin moved through the city to coordinate repairs and evacuation. The humans are amazing, Sumin said quietly. They fight with skill, but they also care about our people. It is not just their power, it is their heart. Hannah nodded. They are teaching us what it means to be brave and smart. If we follow them, we can survive and rebuild. They are our greatest allies. Back in orbit, Lieutenant Min-jun studied enemy movement patterns. He predicted where they might try to counterattack and set traps accordingly. We control the pace now, he said. They cannot surprise us. Every move they make has been anticipated. Keep your teams ready, but stay calm. The fleet adjusted instantly, ready to respond to any threats. When the alien forces attempted to flank them, they found themselves caught in ambushes and destroyed before they could retreat. Engineer Yijin monitored the damage reports and guided field engineers working with the alien forces. She ensured that the energy systems supporting civilians were stable and that the fleet's weapons remained operational. We cannot fail, she said quietly. Every second counts. Every action matters. We protect life as we fight. Her diligence allowed the human fleet to continue operating at full efficiency without delays or errors. The alien commanders grew more desperate as their forces faltered. Commander Hannah watched the fear in their eyes and realized how completely the humans had shifted the battle. They are unstoppable, she whispered to Sumin. Not because they are stronger, but because they are smarter, faster, and braver. They act when it matters and never hesitate. Sumin nodded silently. The humans' presence had changed the rules of engagement entirely. Captain Hae-won ordered a specialized team to disable the remaining energy shields protecting enemy strongholds. The team moved quickly and skillfully through asteroid fields and debris, avoiding detection and enemy fire. Using precise tactics, they disabled the shields, leaving the enemy positions vulnerable to the main fleet. The aliens were unable to respond effectively, and human ships moved in to eliminate remaining threats. Hannah's people began to take more active roles in defense and recovery. Soldiers and civilians worked together to repair key infrastructure and guide those in danger to safety. Liaison Officer Kyung-mi coordinated with human engineers to optimize defenses and prevent unnecessary damage. We can fight alongside them, she said quietly. If we follow their strategies and remain brave, we can survive. The people felt renewed strength and hope, inspired by humanity's skill and courage. The human fleet continued to advance, striking key enemy positions and securing safe zones. Captain Hae-won maintained calm leadership, issuing orders with clarity and precision. Focus on high-value targets and protect civilians, she instructed. Every move counts. Strike quickly, retreat when necessary, and never underestimate the enemy. The fleet responded instantly, moving in perfect synchronization and executing the strategy flawlessly. Lieutenant Min Seo observed from the control room, predicting enemy reinforcements and setting new traps to counter them. The human fleet maintained control of the battle, anticipating each move and acting decisively. Captain Hae-won praised his work. You think ahead of them, she said. That is why we are winning. Keep it up. Min Seo nodded, focusing on the next set of maneuvers. Engineer Boare and her team monitored energy levels across all ships and weapons. Every shot fired, every shield deployed, and every engine movement depended on precise calculations. We must maintain perfection, she said softly. Our work keeps the fleet alive. Our people depend on us. Her efforts ensured the fleet could continue striking without hesitation, maintaining relentless pressure on the enemy. By the end of the day, the humans had gained total control of the skies and surrounding space above the alien world. Enemy forces were scattered and disorganized, their morale broken, and their command systems destroyed. Commander Hannah looked at the city below, seeing smoke from destroyed enemy positions and civilians emerging cautiously. "The humans have done it," she said softly. "They have saved us, not just with strength, but with intelligence, courage, and care." Captain Hay-1 reported the status to Admiral Minsuk. "All objectives are complete. Enemy forces are scattered and weakened. Civilians are secure." Minsuk nodded. "Good work," he said. "We have shown them what humanity is capable of. But remember, the war is not fully over. Stay vigilant and ready for what comes next." The crew felt pride and determination, knowing they had performed brilliantly under pressure. Hannah sent a message of thanks to the human fleet. "Your bravery and skill have changed everything. You have given hope and safety to our people. We will never forget this day." Captain Hay-1 replied simply, "We fight for life and for hope. That is what humans do." As the stars shone above, the human fleet prepared to maintain control and continue protecting the planet. Enemy forces were weakened but still present, and future battles would come. Hannah and her people knew that with humans by their side, they had a chance to survive, rebuild, and thrive. The humans had shown that true strength was not just in weapons, but in intelligence, courage, and heart. The galaxy would remember this day forever. The human fleet moved slowly above the alien world, maintaining vigilance while allowing civilians to return safely to their homes. Captain Sung-ho observed the monitors carefully, noting that enemy resistance had almost vanished. Small groups of alien ships tried to regroup, but human scouts quickly located and neutralized them. The humans were not ruthless. They fought to protect life, not to destroy unnecessarily. Sung-ho felt pride in his crew and in what they had achieved. "We have done what many thought impossible," he said quietly. "Our people fight with courage, skill, and heart. This is what makes us strong." On the planet below, Commander Hannah and Lieutenant Jae-min helped coordinate recovery efforts. They guided civilians to repaired shelters and ensured that essential services were restored. Soldiers and engineers worked side by side, inspired by the humans' example. "We have hope again," Hannah said softly. "Humans have shown us how to survive and fight. We can rebuild. We can live." Jae-min nodded, realizing that the humans' influence had gone beyond the battlefield. They had taught her people courage, patience, and strategy. Captain Sung-ho turned to Lieutenant Min Seo, who monitored remaining enemy signals. "Are there any threats left?" he asked. Min Seo shook his head. "Only scattered units. Nothing that can challenge our control. We have stabilized the area." Sung-ho nodded. "Good. Begin coordination with the aliens. They need to rebuild their defenses, but we must also ensure peace remains. Our work is not just fighting, it is protection." Engineer Hai-rin moved through the control stations, checking energy outputs and making adjustments. She smiled as she observed civilian communications returning to normal. "We have made a difference," she said quietly. "Every calculation, every repair, every adjustment allowed this to happen. The people below are alive because of us." Her team continued to work tirelessly, ensuring that no systems failed and that the fleet remained ready for any unexpected threats. Commander Hannah sent a message of gratitude to the human fleet. "Your actions have saved our people and given us hope. We owe you our lives, our cities, and our future. We will never forget this day." Captain Sung-ho replied, "We fight because it is right. We protect life because it matters. That is what humanity does. Continue to rebuild, and you will grow stronger." Hannah read the message to her people, and cheers went up from soldiers and civilians alike. The Galactic Council had observed the battle from afar. Their initial dismissal of the alien plea for help had been a mistake. They now recognized humanity as a powerful and decisive force in the galaxy. Representatives sent messages of acknowledgement, though tinged with reluctant respect. Admiral Minsuk received the communications calmly. "They finally see what we always knew," he said to his officers. Humans are not just another species. We are strong, intelligent, and brave. The galaxy will remember this. On the planet's surface, civilians returned to rebuilding their homes. Soldiers worked with human engineers to repair essential infrastructure. Children played carefully among repaired streets, their laughter a small but powerful sign of hope. Hannah moved among her people, encouraging them to continue. "We survived because of humans," she said. "Their courage and strategy saved us. Let us rebuild and honor what they have done for us." Lieutenant Jae-min coordinated with human officers to train alien soldiers in improved tactics. They practiced maneuvers, adapted human strategies, and learned how to anticipate enemy movements. "We are not as strong as humans," she said to a group of trainees, "but we can be smarter, faster, and braver. Watch how they fight, learn from them, and we will be ready for the future." The soldiers listened closely, inspired by the humans' example. Captain Sung-ho prepared for departure. The human fleet had achieved its mission, but their presence remained a symbol of hope. "We cannot stay forever," he told his officers. "Our role is to protect, to guide, and to teach when needed. But the aliens must learn to defend themselves. We leave them with knowledge, courage, and the example of human strength." The crew nodded, proud of the difference they had made. Engineer Jia coordinated final checks on the fleet's ships. Every system had been monitored, every weapon tested, and every shield maintained. "We leave no weaknesses," she said. "The humans' reputation will remain strong, and the galaxy will remember that we fought with skill, intelligence, and heart." Her team completed the final adjustments, ensuring that the fleet could respond instantly if new threats appeared. Commander Hannah and Lieutenant Jae-min watched the human ships glide away from the planet, their engines glowing softly against the stars. "They are incredible," Hannah said. "Not just in power, but in courage and care. They fight to protect, to save, and to teach. Our people have learned what it means to survive because of them." Jae-min nodded. "They are more than warriors. They are heroes." Back in orbit, Captain Sung-ho sent final instructions. "Maintain defensive monitoring, but focus on training and support. The enemy is weak, but we cannot ignore them. Humanity's strength is not just in war, but in preparation, strategy, and heart." Lieutenant Min Seo acknowledged the order and continued scanning for any signs of trouble. The fleet remained ready, but the immediate threat had passed. On the alien planet, life slowly returned to normal. Markets reopened, homes were repaired, and children played safely in the streets. Soldiers and civilians worked together to strengthen defenses and rebuild their communities. Commander Hannah held a small gathering of her officers. "Today we have learned what courage looks like. Today we have seen what intelligence and bravery can achieve. The humans have shown us a path forward. We must follow it and ensure our people thrive." Engineer Boare worked with local engineers to improve infrastructure and communication networks. She shared knowledge, teaching alien engineers how to maintain systems efficiently. "This is not just about rebuilding," she said. "It is about preparing for the future. Humans fight smart, protect life, and leave knowledge behind. We will do the same here." The engineers listened carefully, understanding the importance of learning from humans. Captain Hae-won and her fleet began their journey back toward human space. They moved in formation, keeping a watchful eye for any potential threats. "We have completed our mission," she said, "but our role is ongoing. Humanity must always be ready to protect, to teach, and to inspire. Today we have shown the galaxy who we are." The crew felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing they had saved millions of lives and changed the course of history. Commander Hannah sent one last message to the humans. "Your actions will never be forgotten. You have given our people hope, safety, and knowledge. The galaxy will speak of this day for generations. Thank you, humans." Captain Sung-ho replied simply, "We fight because it is right. Remember what we have shown you, and your people will thrive. Humanity will always be ready to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The alien world settled into a cautious peace. Soldiers continued training with the human techniques, and civilians rebuilt their homes and communities. Children grew up hearing stories of the humans who had saved them, and the planet became stronger and more united. Commander Hannah knew that the humans had left a lasting mark, not just on the battlefield, but in the hearts and minds of her people. In space, the human fleet glimmered among the stars, ready for the next mission, wherever it might be. Admiral Minsuk reflected on the operation. "We have changed the galaxy," he said quietly, "not just with weapons, but with courage, intelligence, and care. Humanity has proven that we are a force to be respected, a force to be remembered, and a force that fights for what is right." Lieutenant Minacio looked out at the stars, thinking about the battles they had fought and the people they had saved. "We are more than warriors," he said softly. "We are protectors. We fight for life, hope, and justice. That is what makes us human." His words echoed through the command bridge, reminding everyone that their actions had meaning far beyond the battlefield. Back on the alien world, Commander Hannah and Lieutenant Jaemin oversaw the rebuilding efforts. Soldiers continued to train, civilians worked to restore homes, and the planet slowly regained stability. Hannah smiled as she looked up at the stars, imagining the human fleet traveling home. "They have given us more than victory," she said softly. "They have given us courage, hope, and a future. Humanity will always be remembered here." The humans' reputation spread across the galaxy. Stories of their courage, intelligence, and strength traveled to distant systems. Other species began to respect them, some with awe, others with caution. But all knew that humanity was a force that could not be ignored. A species that fought not just for power, but for life, hope, and justice. As the alien planet rebuilt, Captain Sung Ho and his fleet continued their journey home, proud of what they had achieved. Humanity had shown the galaxy what true strength meant. Not just firepower, but heart, courage, and intelligence. They had fought and won not for conquest but for protection. And the story of that day, of the humans who saved a world, would be remembered forever. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and humanity moved among them, ready for whatever challenge came next. They had proven that they were the deadliest and bravest in the galaxy, and they had done it with intelligence, courage, and heart. The legacy of their actions would last for generations, and the aliens they had saved would never forget the humans who fought for them when all hope seemed lost.